Do you ever regret accepting a new client? Maybe you brought someone on, it felt like synergy, and then as you started working with them, not quite as ideal as you would have liked it to be. I'm Loren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, showing accounting professionals how to double their income working half the time. Okay, you are a bookkeeper, tax preparer, enrolled agent, CPA, and your phone is ringing. You have people that want you to do work for them. It's top of their mind, and this might be your busy season. So there's something to think about, because I want to protect you, having some boundaries in place from ending up running ragged, getting exhausted, and this not being sustainable. The very first thing to think about is, do you accept everybody who's willing to pay your fees? So do you say yes to everybody and actually congratulate yourself for having a 100% close rate? So that's something to think about. The next thing is, what about the clients who you've onboarded, who you continue to tolerate? They don't respond to your communications. They actually throw off your workflow. They take more time than your other quality clients do. So think about, who is it that you've continued to tolerate because you just don't know how to deal with them, or you've been avoiding something. And then the last type of client I want you to think about are the ones who you are working harder on their financials and their tax responsibilities than they are. You care about their cash flow, the financials in their business more than they do. They are just not engaged. So those are some of the things to think about as we're moving forward in order to really take care of you and make sure that you have clients that you love working with, as opposed to regretting ever taking that person on as a client. And if you said yes to any of those things, then think about the fact that there is a cost to having these high maintenance clients that aren't as engaged, that you are working hard on their business, that you tolerate, that wasn't a good fit, and you just didn't listen to that gut feeling. So something to think about is, there is definitely a cost to them. They add to your frustration. They take more time than other clients do. And as a result of that, that means that they are lower profit clients. So those are some things to think about when you have the wrong client engaged with your firm. And what I feel is that prevention is so much better than intervention. It is so much easier to break up before you're in a long-term engagement. So that means I want you to think about, how can you protect yourself? And some of the things to think about before I go really into the nitty-gritty is, pay attention to those red flags that come up. If there's something going on with a gut feeling, or the hairs on the back of your neck start to stand up as you're talking with something because something feels a little bit off, it is absolutely worth noticing. You are not obligated to say yes to everybody who is willing to pay your fees. I want you to be more discriminating and discerning in order to have a firm full of ideal clients that you love working with, that really respect you, that have boundaries, as opposed to a wide range of clients. And some of them are really just not worth it, and you wish that they would go away. You regret having not listened to that gut check in the beginning. The other thing to look at is, once you have a wide range of clients from low value to high value, those PETA clients, the headache clients, start to do a list of looking at what are some of the similarities of those low quality clients that you have. What is it that you just find doesn't work for you? You wish that they would go away, because my guess is that some of them share similarities. And if you're aware of what they are ahead of time, then when they start to show themselves, you can do some things to take care of yourself and avoid having that be someone for a long time that you just would quietly, secretly wish that you didn't have ever brought them on to begin with. And the third part of what I want you to think about is, you might be enrolling them into working with you in a long-term capacity much too soon. I would like you to think about, how can we maybe test drive the relationship to see if it's a good fit before you ever engage someone in a long-term relationship. It's similar to when you're bringing on a team member to help you out. You put them through that 90-day trial period or temp period to see if they're a good fit before they get all the benefits of working in your firm long term. Well, what you do with employees, I want you to think about doing that with your clients as well. It's okay to have a temp period to see if they're actually a good fit before you enroll them into an ongoing long-term relationship, because it's so much easier to do things preventatively that take care of you than try to fix it after the fact. So I want to give you some tips right now, 5 tips, in order to really free yourself of some of those headache clients. And this is first realizing that you have primarily 2 types of clients: some who pay a little and want a lot, and then your clients who expect to invest in your firm's services in order to get great results. We want more the second, not the first. So think about the 5 tips to really keep yourself from having those long-term, potentially headache clients. The very first step you want to think about is stop competing on price, because the clients who care most about price and prioritize those are the price-sensitive clients. They are the ones who want champagne service at beer prices. So, and it's not even IPA beer. They want to get the champagne service at the budget beer prices. So think about that, whereas those high-value clients who are on the other end of the spectrum, they recognize that working with you, engaging your firm, is an investment as opposed to a cost. They see that working with you is going to help them in some specific way, and that it is going to really appeal to them, be meaningful beyond just the technical parts of what you're doing. So once again, I want you to go ahead and look at the fact if you're competing on price, then maybe you shouldn't. And the other thing about quality clients, if your prices are too low, they might question your expertise and whether they ought to be even engaging your services as well. So there's something about being the low price leader that goes beyond the obvious. It's not going to be attractive to everybody. Not everybody wants to pay rock bottom prices because not everybody is looking for bottom of the barrel services. So that's the first thing, is to stop competing on price. And then we go to number 2. This is where I want you to consider positioning your firm and your firm's services as an investment. This means that you're being seen as an investment, not a cost. When you are positioning yourself as a technician, that means that you're being seen as a commodity, which keeps you competitive, which means that you have to have competitive pricing as well. That focuses on what you do. Once again, it positions you as a commodity and a technician. But when we lead with your expertise and your insights and the value of not just doing the compliance part, but giving them the knowledge to be able to apply it to get better results, then we are focusing on the value of what you do. And what you want to consider is slightly changing your messaging to be able to emphasize your value. Instead of focusing on the compliance and the technical aspects of what you're doing, focus on the benefits and the outcomes that your clients receive as a result of doing those services with you. This was a conversation I had a little bit earlier today with one of my clients. She does tax strategy and she files taxes for her clients. So we were talking about the fact that she had one client come to her that is a serial entrepreneur, has multiple business entities as well as real estate. And up until now, he didn't really understand how taxes worked with his business and some of the nuances to understand to be able to really be more strategic in how he's looking at his cash flow and financials to give him the best tax advantage possible. He wanted to always be on top of being tax compliant, which is what he did before. But by going from someone who was just helping him with being compliant to helping him be more strategic, he was able to actually make more investments in his real estate. He made more donations. So not only was he benefiting himself, he was benefiting others as well. And he was able to also go ahead and take care of some family members, setting them up for having future financial stability. So once again, it wasn't just about the tax compliance side of what she was doing for him. It was that he needed the tax strategy because he didn't know some implications that he was able to use to his advantage to really have the best tax advantage possible. So think about that with you, what you're doing for your client regarding their financials and how you can help them not just do the compliance part, but the application in order for them to have the best insight and make the best decisions possible. So that is something else. So we went through stop competing on price. We went into position your service as an investment. That means focusing on the outcomes and the benefits that your clients enjoy from working with your firm. Number 3 is don't sell your services. I think we are all in agreement, whether you are the client or the service provider, that as accounting professionals, firm owners, you do not want to sell, and your clients, they don't want to be sold to. We are all in the same page about that. What I suggest you do, instead of just posting about the services you offer, and now's a great time to give you a call to get this done and so on and so forth, I want you to think about educating your clients. Think about what's top of mind for them, what they need to know, how you can give them that one tip that might start to make a difference and have them see the value of maybe reaching out and wanting to know more instead of just continuing to say, call me, call me, call me, and maybe going to network meetings and handing out as many business cards as you possibly can, thinking that that was marketing. So once again, do not sell your services because you don't want to sell. Your clients don't want to be sold to. Instead, come from a place of service and educate and wanting to lift your clients up, because when you lift them up, they're lifting others up as well. So come from a place of giving before you could expect to get. And then number 4 is pre-qualified potential clients. This is like having a virtual gatekeeper on your website, protecting yourself from those people that don't see the value, or they just wanted a free session with you because they wanted to take that consult and turn it into a pick your brain session, or the fact that you don't like saying no to people, you talk to everybody and you say yes to people, even though you had that gut feeling that that wasn't the right client for you to be working with. You knew that this was going to be a headache, and later on down the road, you were so right. So once again, I want to protect you by putting some simple boundaries in place to be able to make sure that the right clients are getting on your calendar instead of all potential clients, including the ones that just wanted the free information, but never, ever intended to pay for it or invest in what you had to offer as far as solutions. And that is recognizing first that you are not obligated to talk with everybody. Let's just go there. You're busy. I want to have you protect your calendar. So what you might want to think about is looking at putting some simple questions in place, whether they are calling you and asking those questions first to see if they ought to be getting on your calendar, or maybe they just need a recommendation, or you could put this on your website instead of having a link to your calendar for anybody to grab time with you. So on my website, if you went to businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk, it's all one word, businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk, you'll see an example on how you could potentially qualify clients so that you'll get an idea as to who wants to talk with you, whether they're a good fit or not. And if they're a good fit, then great, get them on the calendar. If not, then you can go ahead and give them a recommendation or suggestion on what they ought to be doing next, but you don't necessarily feel obligated to schedule an appointment with them. And then number 5 is slow down your onboarding process. This is counterintuitive. From a place of being firm owners, we think that we need to engage clients as quickly as possible to avoid losing them. But I want to let you know it's not necessarily in your best interest or in their best interest either. I want you to slow down your onboarding process in order to make sure that there's fit on both sides. It's once again similar to having a couple meetings, having a couple dates before you go into that long-term engagement, and then you have regrets and you tolerate the wrong client for much too long. So look at how you can actually slow down the onboarding process. It might be looking at what is the first step, which might be that free initial consult. What is the next step that you enroll them into, which would be maybe a very small piece of what they need, but not the whole thing. The next step might be a little bit more project, or it might be more outcome driven based on what you do. So it's a little bit of a different flow for if you're a tax preparer as opposed to an accountant that doesn't do taxes, or you're doing the whole 360 as far as accounting services go, bookkeeping, a little bit different for each of you. But I want you to go ahead and slow things down to make sure that you are bringing those quality clients into your firm instead of all clients who are willing to pay your fees. It's something I teach further, and I'm sure I'm going to be talking more about that later as we continue to have these meetings. Anyway, I just want to say, think about this. Holding on to those non-ideal clients, engaging them in the first place, reduces your revenues. It interferes with your success. So think about what is one tip that you can take from what I just shared, immediately implement it to start to be able to be more protective of yourself, your resources of time, energy, lowering that frustration level, and also making sure that you are working with those right fit clients who respect you, appreciate you, as opposed to the price sensitive ones who really aren't as vested in the outcomes as you would hope they would be. So think about that. It makes a difference for putting you on the path to having a dream firm. And if you would like the resource that goes with what I shared for protecting yourself and freeing yourself of those headache clients, then go to businesssuccess.com/headache, and you can go ahead and grab the free resource with the steps to free yourself of potentially headache clients. Once again, it's at businesssuccesssolution.com/headache to finally free yourself of those headache clients. Loren Fogelman, showing accounting professionals how to double their income, working half the time.